Thanks for tuning in, and today I want to talk about this feature phone. It's not quite a dumb phone, it's not quite a smartphone, and it's called the AGM M7. But please, before I do, like, share, comment, and subscribe to help support my channel. I'd appreciate it. And when it comes to EDC, a lot of us probably don't think about our smartphone that much. We just go with whatever, what we like, Google or Apple, right? And we don't really think about the consequences, But when it comes to knives and pens and all these other stuff, pouches, we think carefully about which pouch we want or which knife we want to carry or, even the pen that we want to invest in. But we don't talk about our phones or consider, which phone we should have. And for about 6 months last year, yes, I did carry this phone. And the one thing that drew me in right away was the fact that even though it's running a version of Android, it has no other Google services. No Google Play, no Gmail, no Chrome. You can't download Google apps. Yes, you can download third-party apps through like a bootloader if you want to do that. But really, this was a phone. If you didn't want Google spying on you or tracking you or gathering data on you, this is the phone for you. Now, the other thing that I liked about it was the fact that it has a touch screen. So it made the transition from a smartphone to this phone a little bit easier. So you didn't have to type out text with the keypad like on old school dumb phones, right? So that really made it a lot easier in terms of transitioning. The next thing that I found really cool was the speaker on the back, and it gets super loud. You don't have to connect this to a Bluetooth speaker. You just have the speaker integrated into the phone, and you can just turn it up, and it does a pretty good job of staying crisp, even when you have it turned all the way up. It does get a little bit distorted, but not too bad at all. Has a camera, which, other than because the phone's waterproof, I would take a few pictures when my kids were swimming in the ocean. But, beyond that, I didn't take a lot of photos with this thing because it was so low quality. And I did mention that it's IP68 dust and waterproof, so that's really cool. And it has a really cool rugged construction, so you can drop this from about 5 or 6 feet. It would survive. The case might not survive, but the phone would survive. And let's see. You know what? Maybe I should do a drop test right now. Actually, never mind. I forgot I don't have the battery charged, so I couldn't even show you that it still worked because I haven't used this in several months. As I said before, I abandoned this phone a while ago because of some major flaws. So, and then this button over here, it's mapped to this flashlight. You can remap it if you want. And it's really nice just to have a flashlight on the top like this. It's easier to point around instead of having it on the back. So that's a really nice thing that I think maybe more companies should think about, having the flashlight just on the top. I know a lot of phones are too thin for that instead of just having it on the back. So what are the things that I did not like about this phone that just led me to abandon this phone? Number one was the battery life. It sucked. If you even had two apps open running at the same time, it would just drain the battery completely, within a few hours. So I could never get through a full day without charging this phone. So that was just not the first deal breaker. Number two, it only comes with 8 gigs of storage, which is ridiculous to me. You can't really do much with 8 gigs at all. You're not storing tons of photos or anything on here, but I stored music on here, and so that took up a lot of space, and 3 gigs were already used up with the pre-installed apps. So that's something to consider. You can expand the memory with the memory card, but 8 gigs, really? That was just really odd to me. The next thing was, and probably the most important thing, other than the camera, which I mentioned, was that no group texting. A lot of my friends use group text, and I felt like I was constantly missing out on, cool conversations that people were having amongst our friends and stuff. So that really was just a shame, and that was the final straw that led me to just ditch this phone and go back. I do still actually use a different flip phone, feature phone. It's called the Cat S22, and that does have group texting and better battery and all that, but it is connected to Google services, which is kind of a shame. I just really did enjoy not being bombarded with, recommendations and things like that, or even, like I said, Google collecting data on everything that I do online. And so It's just a shame. If it had group texting and better battery, I'd still be using this phone to this day. I would. I'd be carrying this around. Even I'd put up with the bulk. I'd put up with, the fact that, it's not such a crisp display. I put up with the fact that it's a plastic screen that gets smudgy. I put up with all those for 6 months. But then I stopped putting up with it after I realized that those two things, the battery and the lack of group text, was just too much to handle. So let me know if you think you would use something like this. You would check out a phone similar to this. Maybe they are working on different models that have better battery life and group texting. If they are, I'd check it out in an instant. I would. Because I think, in kind of the time we're in, we're just too addicted to our smartphones, and it affects our behaviors. It affects our relationships, and it just completely changes our brains. And I think we need to think about, how we spend our time online and what devices we use to be connected to each other and to information and things like that. And if we want to be connected, maybe we don't want to be connected at all. So these are things to consider. So leave me your comments below and your thoughts. And until the next video, take care of yourself.